Good. Um, I
Every day
might,
is better when we know we have a direction.
good. Now, are you, do you play guitar?
Mm-hmm.
Guess
I
what
play.
I'm doing
I
next,
try. I try hard.
guess what I'm doing next week?
No way.
I get to go see Tommy Emmanuel in concert.
Well, I think you're going to be it's going to be an enjoyable evening.
You
Yes,
are
it
live,
is.
by the way.
No worries, everybody. Welcome to iodnations.org in our live feed. We're just getting rolling as people come in. So we're having a little discussion with part of the team. Uh, Here you see Peter, who has come in and volunteered to work with us. He's from Canada, and we're going to talk about all kinds of cool stuff and how we're moving forward. But we were just talking about guitar because we're going to play a song for you in just a minute that I created. But Peter, so my two of my favorite guitarists are Al Di Meola and Tommy Emmanuel.
I don't know too much about the Aldioma,
Al Di Meola. Uh,
Aldiviola.
Di
First name
Meola.
Al.
He played with Chick Corea when he was 18 years old. So anyway, we will move
Wow.
on. Hey, uh, Rakesh or Draco, do we have a song to play for people as others start to roll in? And can you guys get me the link for Substack, please?
Yeah. You can find the Substack link in the Zoom chat. And
Thank you. Hey, Renee, thanks for being here. Welcome to IOD Nations.
I can't figure out. I'm sorry. I don't know if you can hear me, but I'm glad I'm
Now
here.
I can.
Yay!
Good. We're glad you're here too. Hey, Stacy.
I just got your email, so I'm here.
Okay, cool. We're really excited to have you. We're gonna we've got about 16 people here right now. So we're gonna give you a little music as we welcome some people in. If you're new here, we are iodnations.org, International Online Democratic Nations, and we are uniting pro-democracy citizens from across the world. So we're glad to have you here. And today's going to be a really fun show. It's going to be one where we can show you how we're really moving forward in some ways that we haven't done. So do you guys have some music? Hey, Ashfaq. Glad to see you, man. Who's our
yes,
music
we have the
director?
music.
Go for it. I love this song.
Hang on, guys.
No worries.
What the fuck is it gonna take? The clock ticking, democracy slipping, snakes in the kitchen, freedom in a chokehold, yo, who's gripping? Socrates whispers truth bombs, no fiction. Big hands Newsom, palms on the gavel, world unravel, systems fragile. Typing revolution, scrolling battle, scrolling but silent, nah, we can't straddle. Make democracy offensive, what's the price? Power to the people, not the roll of dice. Unite online, ignite the fight, blow the shit up, bring the wrong to light. Algorithm scheming, got your mind in a cell, scrolling through the circus while the earth yell. Policy for sale, dreams they compel, but the masses sleepwalking, trapped in the spell. that flame. Truth in your pocket, lies on the screen. Click revolution, troll alt dream. Socrates asked, now we intervene. Justice ain't passive, gotta get mean. Big hands news 'em, palms on the gavel. World unravel, systems fragile. Typing revolution, scrolling battle. Scrolling but silent, nah, we can't straddle. Make democracy offensive, what's the price? Power to the people, not the roll of dice. Unite online, ignite the fight. Blow this shit up, bring the wrong to life. Algorithm scheming, got your mind in a cell. Scrolling through the circus while the earth yell. Polity for sale, dreams they compel. But the masses sleepwalking, trapped in the spell. What's it gonna take? A quake in the brain, floods in the veins, break out the chains. History's a loop, but we can reframe. Riot in the comments, spark that flame. Truth in your pocket, lies on the screen. Click revolution, control alt dream. Socrates asked, now we intervene. Justice ain't passive, gotta get mean.
So for everybody who's listening to that, that I created that song, I think either at the end of 2025 or the beginning of 2026. It would have been in 2025 because it was based upon when Governor Newsom made the choice to put the redistricting in California up for a vote, Prop 50. So I did a song called about Prop 50 as well. The gist of that song is this idea that we're all looking for a way to fight back. Okay. The reason that you're here, the reason you came here is because you're concerned about what's happening with freedom and democracy in the United States and across the world. And we're here to tell you that there is a real way, a really simple way, and a highly effective way that you can participate in fighting back. And that's by uniting online democratically. Now, we've been talking about actions and making stuff happen. And we're going to roll some of that out to you today. We're going to move it forward. If you look on your screen, if you're in the Zoom call, you'll see myself. I'm Joel, IOD Nations. Peter is from Canada. He just volunteered, and it will tell you about what he volunteered to do. Karma has been with us for quite a while. She's been working with a group of women who are working to unite online as ultimately what can become the international online democratic women's nation. What we're talking about is ultimately we could end up with 1 billion or more women united online as a democratic nation, and they can be leaders of the world as we move forward in a more free and democratic world online and ultimately everywhere. Okay. So
that'd be great.
this is about power and influence, but we actually need people to participate. If you have emailed us and volunteered and been wondering where we are, why we haven't done a better job, we just sent out an email to the over 200 people who have said they would like to volunteer and participate. And so we're going to talk to you today about how that's going to happen. We're going to wait a little while. Typically, it takes us about 15 or 20 minutes to get more people in here. Right now, we're at 23. So we're not going to go into the meat of the show until we have more people here. But I'm going to take a moment and introduce you. So Peter is from Canada. He's volunteered to help us be a moderator, along with Karma. Karma has agreed to be a moderator for 2 shows. The Saturday's suffrage. Good grace. Tell me who the
Saturday
hell
and
you
Wednesday.
are. Saturdays and Wednesday, but Online Suffragette Saturdays, I think was the name of it, is where we were, right? What is it, Karma? Tell us a little bit about
Yes.
what's going on.
Stop it. Sorry, my
And
daughter is actively trying to steal my mouse. So yes, we do it on Saturdays. It's for women's suffragette Saturdays. And so we try to dive into specifically the women's issues, but ultimately we all know that, you know, that affects everybody across the world as well. So, you know, none of us are free until all of us are free. But yeah, I'm not gonna be able to talk for super long because she is
no worries.
attacking me. So take over.
Okay, no worries. Peter, tell us a little bit about you. What brought you
So,
here?
my name is Peter Mugler, and what brought me here is the sense of urgency, and what my motivation is. I think we are losing what the meaning of democracy is and getting lazy as a nation, as nations, not just one, but all, or pretty well all, that we take it for granted. And I see what's happening in the United States, and it's scary. So, and this, you know, instead of being reactive to this, being proactive in the future for us, you're teaching us a lesson actually. And your concept, like I've mentioned many times, is beautiful, and it's an easy, and we have the tools to do it, and we have the people that have the technical skill sets, and yourself, Joel, who are very creative and know the importance of the this movement. And I am glad to be aboard, and I'm looking forward for the first. I might screw it up a lot, but the intentions are always honorable.
We're really, really happy to have you here, and I think um, we're going to ask some people to come in and work with you. And we've done that with the email that we sent out. And we're just thrilled to have another voice here, to balance me out and um, to give a bit of a calmer, different perspective, and especially to have that voice from Canada. Okay. Um, so we'll move forward with that. Also, up on your screen, you see IOD Nations with the Buddha. That is Draco. We call him AOP. He is our agent of peace. Um, and you see Rakesh. Rakesh is working as our basically project manager. These guys, we've also had Ashfaq working with us, and he's still doing some work in the background. And we've got another guy who's come on. These are the guys that are making this happen, because it's a bit overwhelming, really, to try and make all of this happen. So, Rakesh, well, so first of all, to Rakesh and Ashfaq and everybody out there, if you can share our Substack link on Substack right now and invite people to come join this show. Typically, we will get a pretty good group that comes in, hopefully within about the next 10 minutes. So, Brandy, I've reached out to Indivisible numerous times. I asked them, I'm responding to Brandy, who made a comment. She said, are we plugged into indivisible.org? I tried. What I wanted to have happen was at the No Kings March, I wanted every major march to have someone at a podium stand up and simply ask the people at the march to unite in one location online. I used NATO as an example. It could be the UN, it could be at IOD nations. It really doesn't matter where we unite online. What matters is how many people can we get who are pro democracy anywhere in the world to unite online, because everything that we're going to talk to you about and share with you is about that. It's about how easy it is to accomplish that and how powerful and influential we all become when we're united and collaborating and working together online. Um, that's why we're here. And we're actually, Peter volunteered. He's been in the show for a couple of weeks. Peter is taking on two main roles right now. In the front, you're going to see him as the moderator on Monday's shows, and that will help free the guys up for some of the stuff we're working on in the background. The other thing that Peter's going to be doing is working behind the scenes on email campaigns and outreach, primarily in Canada. Um, and that outreach is intended to unite people to send emails to influencers and to get people who have a much larger audience than we do talking about what happens when the citizens of the world unite online democratically. And that's what we're searching for. If you and so my point about Indivisible was these individual organizations, they're committed to and they're loyal to their structures. And we'll show you what I mean by that, Brandy, later in the presentation. I'll show you the hurdles that we've run into and how we can break those down and get groups like Indivisible and Act Blue and others to actually function and participate in a united collaborative manner. But I think I I think what I'm going to do here as we're waiting for some more people to come in, Peter and I have had the opportunity to have some um, closer discussions in our small working group, and I think that his perspective on what's happening in Canada and how he believes this fits with what's happening in Canada. I think this is really important for people here to understand. I actually think that Canadians are more geared towards collaborating and working together, and that Americans are a little bit more geared towards being individualistic and not as collaborative. And I think that's one of the challenges that has gotten us where we are. So Peter, let's talk about that. And it looks like we're starting to get a bunch of people rolling in. So welcome to iodnations.org, International Online Democratic Nations.org. We are dedicated to uniting as many pro-democracy citizens from anywhere in the world online as possible. And right now, Peter and I are going to have a little discussion about how we're trying to do that in Canada. So, Peter, can you sort of tell people what's happening and what happened in Canada organically after literally the United States attacked you and threatened you economically and militarily and socially? Give us a little insight, if you would, please. I think you're on mute, maybe.
You're right.
Okay.
Like I said, I'm going to screw up a lot of times, but
We all
always with
are,
good
man.
intention. I think the relationship between Canada and United States, from my perspective, is we were always on the same cultural line. Our moral compass was pretty well in line. Our ideologies are pretty close. We're a socialist, capitalist, and the United States is right now is completely social, capitalist. Or I think we're looking at it right now as a fascist government, which is come to light. So saying that, when this first came out, it was like it was a bad joke. But as it moved on, I think I know now most Canadians, they took it seriously. And it was an organic movement, and we just stopped buying our articles and produce from the United States. And it turned out people stopped going, and it caught on. And after that, because it was such a success, it was a message, and it was a success. Then the government or these groups got together and they started organizing it. Like I said, it was an awakening for us, and yeah, I think I think more countries and this international online for democracy. It's time for this. It's timing is timing. It's the time for this, and it's going to I believe it's going to catch on to very many people who can't do anything individually, but know the concept that we are we need numbers. What's that?
Don't worry, somebody's not muted.
Okay, so the concept we need numbers, and we need to be proactive. Especially, we need to be proactive, and in this case, what a concept, and we have the tools to do it, and it's exciting, and it's just the how we're going to do it, and that's why we rely on Draco and Rakesh and yourself, Joel, and Karma. And I have a good feeling about this, so it's all about good feelings.
Welcome. So for those of you who don't know who are here, online citizen-led democracy is already happening in Taiwan. Okay, in Taiwan, they had in 2014 what was called the Sunflower Movement, and the citizens, especially the young people in Taiwan, had a rebellion because only 9% of the population of Taiwan approved of their government. Okay, and after that rebellion, those young people and the citizens of Taiwan created an online portal to integrate with their government. Okay, so just as a really elementary way to understand this, I believe it was a young girl who was 17 years old. She put up a proposal on the portal. And at this time, Taiwan has over 50% of their citizens are logged in, or not logged in, but they are registered and they are part of this online citizen-led democracy portal. And this young girl, the way it's set up is if you put up a proposal and 5,000 people support it online, then the government, the traditional land and borders based government of Taiwan, is required to deal with that. Okay, they have to address it if 5,000 citizens want it addressed. And so what she proposed was that they ban plastic straws. And immediately or relatively quickly, they reached 5,000. They got enough people. The Taiwan government looked at this issue and they put up a proposal and they banned plastic straws in Taiwan. And the point of this is that because they had this online portal, because they had all of this public support, they were radically quicker at making this change and making it a law. And yet we're not utilizing the internet to collaborate with our government, our traditional land and borders-based governments democratically. So that's how online democracy functions with our traditional governments. But there's this other magic that we're missing. And that magic is, imagine if those 50% or whatever it is now of citizens from Taiwan, instead of looking at their government and how they want to interact with them, what if they all united online and they turned their face to the world and they said, we're already here. We're already united online. And we intend to be a power for freedom and democracy and for Taiwan internationally as citizens. We're going to work together as citizens, and we are going to lead the world with online citizen-led democracy. And you could have, as we call it, the IOD Taiwan Nation, an international online democratic Taiwan nation that functions with the international online democratic Canadian nation. And this is where the citizens create their own portals. They create their own constitution or whatever they want. The citizens of Canada, they might be a little bit more socially responsible oriented. Okay. The citizens of England might be a little bit more capitalistic oriented and directed. All of those citizens get to unite and they get to make their own nation. The women who are working together here, you get to found your own international online democratic women's nation. All it takes is what number of you are going to unite and collaborate and determine. Maybe you want ranked choice voting for your online democratic nation. You put it up for a vote, it gets a certain amount of support, and boom, your online nation votes for it, you implement it, and you get to show the world how it works, right? And then you get to use your power and influence to make that happen across the world. And now, when women are running for office in our traditional government, right, we don't just have two parties because we have ranked choice voting, and you can actually vote for the person and the causes and the things that you believe in. And if you don't understand how ranked choice voting works, what it means is, let's say that Peter is running as a part of the Green Party in Canada. Okay. Maybe he doesn't get enough votes to win, but if he doesn't, then the people who voted for him, their votes are not wasted. If Peter doesn't get enough votes to qualify for the full vote, your vote then goes to your second choice, which might be, in the United States, the representative from the Democratic Party. But we give these other candidates a platform and a voice and a way to participate in our governments. Okay. And this is what we're missing. So that is why we are here. I'm going to, so first of all, before we move on to the next part of the show, does anyone,
Yeah,
Rakesh,
yeah,
can you play our rules and tell us what you have going, Rakesh? Let's move this
yeah.
forward.
There are a bunch of people join in the Zoom meeting, so we should welcome them. Hey, Sandy. Hey, Zoom users. Tell us how you found us and what makes you uh, feel like you should jump in here.
Hey, Rakesh, really quickly, before we do that, can you play the rules so everybody knows how we're going to operate this? And
Yeah, sure.
Peter, how would you like to practice as moderator right now?
Now you're
You
putting
might
me
as
on
well.
this.
Absolutely.
Listen, jump in with both
We
feet.
need,
Why not?
you bet your ass. That's what we need people to do, is we need them to see you lead the way on that. So Peter's never done this. He hasn't moderated. We're going to play the rules for you on how we moderate. And we're going to work through this with Peter right now. So go ahead and play that if you could, Rakesh. And then we'll invite those people in.
Welcome to IOD Nations Live. Before we get started, here are a few ground rules that keep this space safe, respectful, and powerful for everyone. Number 1, respect every participant. No exceptions. Number 2, raise your hand in Zoom before speaking. Wait for the host to call on you. Number 3, mute yourself when you are not speaking. Number 4, one person speaks at a time. No interrupting. Number 5, stay on topic. Keep it relevant. Number 6, no hate speech. No harmful language, 0 tolerance. Number 7, hosts have final authority. If they step in, that decision is final. And number 8, come with good faith. We are all here for the same reason, to build citizen-led democracy together. These rules exist to protect every voice in this room. Respect them, and let's build something extraordinary together. Welcome to IOD Nations.
Very good.
You're muted,
Anyone who,
Joel.
yep. Anyone who's here who would like to speak, if you look at the bottom of your screen in Zoom, there is a heart with a react. If you click on that, you can see a spot to raise your hand. And if you raise your hand, Peter is going to bring you in. We're going to try and limit most discussions or comments to 3 minutes. And we're going to work through with everybody who's in the feed. If anyone here would like to come in and speak, just say, you know, can I enter, or type, can I enter in the comments? So Peter, take it away.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Peter Mugler, and I'm representing the IOD Nations podcast or streaming for today. I'll just go through. Did everybody hear did everybody get a chance to hear the rules? I'll take that as a no. And just go over the respect, mindfulness, stay on topic, no hate speech. If you want to express yourself, we're always willing to listen to that. And fair play. Other than that, we'll take it. We'll expand on that later if anything happens. So, we're open to any questions. Anybody have any questions that related to IOD Nations talking about?
Yeah, I can see Karma raised her hand. So, Karma, why don't you unmute yourself and let us know?
Unmute. That's a hard button to get to for some reason. I just wanted to shout out Stacy and Chris really quick. They're in the chat on Substack. They've mentioned trying to get a couple of others involved. Me and Stacy are in a lot of lives together. We are of like-minded people. So thank you for being here, Stacy and Chris as well. Also, I just wanted to go ahead and promote it since it is tomorrow. I will be live tomorrow at 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern with the Women's Suffragette Saturdays. And I believe we have a lot to talk about tomorrow as well. We've heard from Renee. So Sandy and the Zoom user are the only ones that we have here now that are new. There's no hands raised or anything like that, so I don't think they necessarily want to speak. They probably just want to listen. So Joel, we've got about 70 now on Substack viewing, so whatever you feel like we need to do at this point, so the newcomers know why we're here and what we're trying to do.
Okay, so I'm going to cut in. Everybody who's here, you are at iodnations.org, International Online Democratic Nations.org. This is a Substack Live. We are the only Substack you're going to go to that is actually putting tactics and strategies to unite and really work towards a bold new world of online citizen-led democracy, or even any kind of united collaborative effort that fights back. You can go to a lot of other live feeds and a lot of other places, and they're not taking action. They're talking about what the problems are. We are here to address those problems and invite you to join us in tactics and strategies. So with that said, Rakesh, I know I want to give Brandy a chance if we can bring her in before I get into the rest of the show. And if not, I'm going to assume that everybody else who is here, who has not raised their hands, is just here to participate. And we're going to roll into the meat of the show. If you're a volunteer, you should have gotten an email from us. We are now beginning our work behind the scenes. We have a campaign that's sending emails out to unions that the women have created and are working on. Peter is going to be working on one for outreach to Canadians to get Canadians to unite online democratically. And so Chris, you'll learn more as we go. We're going to give you a really good basis to understand. We're small right now, and we're working through that, and we're funded by me. So funded by me means about $1,400 a month that pays these guys to work and everything we're doing. We're not asking you for money, but if you want to support us on Substack, and we're going to have some other ways you can, and we need it. But we're not here to beg for money. You don't have to pay to talk here. You don't have to pay to comment. We're here to promote online citizen-led democracy. So with that said, I would like to roll into Draco. Draco works in the background. Draco, can you pull up the planet slideshow and video? And we're going to play this for everybody. This is my explanation of exactly how we define online citizen-led democracy and how powerful it can be. So again, I would say this: if anyone here watches us and says we could be doing better, we know we can. Please volunteer and help us, and we will do a lot better. Here we go. Welcome to iodnations.org, International Online Democratic Nations.org, where we're promoting online citizen-led democracy, very much like Taiwan has had for the last 11 years, which has resulted in increased public approval of their government from 7% or 9% to 70%. Our next video will discuss much more of that localized methodology of online citizen-led democracy. Everything that you'll see here today is based upon the premise that if a business no longer requires brick and mortar, then a nation no longer requires land and borders. So, there are three fundamental premises. One is that if a business no longer requires brick and mortar, then a nation no longer requires land and borders. The second one is we are the internet. We do not access the internet. We grant the internet access to us. Without us, they ain't shit. And the third foundational premise is, if you are not actively pro-democracy, if you are not pro-democracy, then you are not pro-democracy. So Bernard Shaw said, you see things and ask why. I dream things and ask why not. This is planet Earth. Humans have existed on planet Earth first as tribes and now as nations. Nations are the highest evolution of human collaboration. Nations are the highest form of human collaboration that has ever existed.
Sorry about
But
that.
does a nation require land and borders? In this next slide, you see us, the humans, the world's citizens who are on planet Earth. Currently, we are being used and abused like crops or cattle or swine. And we are being exploited. About 30 years ago, Al Gore invented the internet. And at IOD Nations, we ask you to consider looking at the internet as if it's its own environment or atmosphere, and it completely surrounds planet Earth and all of human existence now. So our world has changed in ways that were never viable or did not exist until Al Gore invented the internet. And now this is what's happening on the internet. We currently have these entities. These are a visual simulation of some of the most powerful and influential entities in the internet, but they are not the internet. They have trained us, in essence, to think that they are the internet. And the arrows that you see going out is this representation that we have. If I were to ask anyone here, do you access the internet? And virtually everyone would say yes. And that's what the arrows demonstrate, is that we are accessing them. And these are bad actors. They are malicious. They are destroying world democracy. And they believe that they've also already obtained dominion over the internet. But here's what they don't realize. We are the commodity that they market. Without us, Facebook can't sell advertising. We think that we're actually accessing Facebook or YouTube or Instagram or TikTok. But the reality is we're granting them access to us. But if we choose to unite online, as for instance, the IOD US Nation, the IOD Women's Nation, the IOD UK Nation, these are citizen-led unifications. They are separate from our existing traditional governments. These nations, like the IOD Youth Nation and the IOD Art Nation, they can have their own constitution. They can have their own Bill of Rights or Declaration of Independence. They can have their own voting systems with ranked choice voting if they want. They are their own nations. They are their own entities. But what is amazing about this is by uniting online and establishing some filters, we realize that we can set up filters that do not grant them direct access to us, because we are the internet. Without us, they ain't shit. Okay? When we unite and we establish that every entity that wants unfiltered access to us whether that's economically, socially, religiously, politically, internationally. If they want access to us, we require that they prove that they are pro-democracy. Otherwise, they get filtered access to us. And at this moment, when we do this, we have completely flipped the script, right? All we have to do is target any one of these entities or any one entity with enough people united online, and then everybody, all of the others, once you down one or once you significantly impact one, all of the others, if you're large enough, if you're united enough, if you're collaborating well enough, they all start coming to us. We aren't, then when that happens, we aren't in this feed trying to figure out how to protect ourselves from them. They're in a feed like this trying to figure out what they need to do to get access to us so that their business models stay viable. And if they don't adapt, if they don't demonstrate that they're pro freedom and democracy, we are the internet. Without us, you ain't shit. And that's when we flip them off and we let them know that the whole dynamics of what's going on in the world have just shifted. And everything, economically, socially, militarily, politically, it's all now put into the hands and largely controlled by the pro-democracy citizens of the world who have united online. Okay, so I'm going to pause there and whoops, am I muted? No. So I'm going to pause there and I'm going to ask Peter to come in and kind of talk with me for a moment about that. So Peter, when when you first experienced that and when you looked at that and you realized what we're describing, how would you see that as a Canadian, as a potential online democratic citizen of Canada? What were your thoughts?
Well, right off the bat, I mean, I was impressed by, because like you said before, it was, most platforms, they're talking about what's wrong with the system, what somebody did today, the reaction. There's always your reactions, because nobody was really putting their finger on it and saying, listen, we can do something about this. So, and the beautiful word that you said was imagine. If you gave somebody a concept, 1,000 people a concept, half of those got that concept and moved progressively forward with that concept. Mountains can be moved. I mean, that's what it takes: will and numbers. And that's what this program, the movement, is doing. It's putting the ingredients together, so we have a platform to really fundamentally make changes. That was the thing that grabbed me. And then all of a sudden, Rakesh and Draco and Karma, that's the people I meet so far. They seem to be very intelligent, uh, and know how to do things, and gentle. Not in a and when I'm saying progressive, I don't mean aggressive. It's a gentle way to give a message, and like we said before, imagine. If you can imagine that, it can be done.
Okay. So Stacy just commented, she said, me too, and I see the concept almost as a third political party. Stacy, what it's that's so cool that you said that, but what it is it's its own nation, Stacy. So I don't know where you're from, but I'm gonna let's say that Stacy is from Canada, okay? And let's say that Stacy is a fierce advocate for women's rights, okay? And let's say that Stacy is also a okay, so Stacy's in the US, but I'm going to continue with my metaphor, my analysis, okay? Um, so Stacy stands, for instance, for Canada, women's rights, and she's also a musician. And she's really frustrated because she's been creating beautiful music that people are buying and they love it. But the way that our online music platforms are structured, musicians really don't make any money from their music except if they perform live. And that's not cool. And what Stacy gets to do, Stacy gets to be a part of the International Online Democratic Art Nation. Okay. And they may decide when they found their when they form their online government, and this is why it's more than a political party, Stacy. When when you are a part of that International Online Democratic Art Nation, you guys get to create your own economy and constitution and Bill of Rights. And you can say, we're going to create our own online music platform because we can go over and go into Claude and ask it to create an online website and set up an online marketplace for our music. And our subscriptions are going to have it built in so that the artists benefit financially and art benefits financially instead of a bunch of wealthy large assholes who are associated with the Epstein files and destroying the world. But Stacy gets to do so much more because she can be a citizen of multiple online democratic nations. So she can also be a citizen of the International Online Democratic Women's Nation. And she can help them address women's issues and art issues, okay, and issues that affect Canada. So what we've done, what Stacy has done, is she's made herself a much more powerful force for the things that are important to her. And the magic of it is she'll be able to set up her prompts, right? Maybe Stacy is a mother of three like Karma, and she's just freaking overwhelmed by what's going on in the world. She can set her prompts to hit her online, when she goes online twice a week. And anything that is coming up for consideration or a vote that's related to music, women's rights, or Canada, she gets prompted. Here's what's happening in the world today in the online democratic world. Stacy goes, "Oh, that's happening in climate. I want to support that." Click, click, click. I supported it. Maybe I made a small donation. Maybe I volunteered for a protest. Stacy gets to do that. Oh, there's another one over here for the women, and they're working on this. Click, click, click. Stacy has now responded and is participating in the art world and the art nation online, the women's world and the women's nation online. And by doing that, she can work with the online democratic citizens of Canada. And all three of those groups can be collaborating on things that are mutually beneficial for all three of those groups. All we're doing is using the internet, the most powerful tool and weapon in history. And just by giving Stacy the chance to be a part of these three nations or more, Stacy's not just a new political party. Stacy is a part of three powerful and influential online nations and economies. And she's a fucking power, right? She gets to decide how she participates. And these online democratic nations make that possible. And that's why we're here. This is this is different from anything you've ever imagined. Um, so I'm gonna I'm going to talk about this. You're going to get an email and you're going to get a link to our website, iodnations.org. Okay. We sent out an email today to over 200 people who have previously said they would volunteer either to participate in outreach or to help lead outreach, like which is what Peter has said he would do. Okay, so we
Hey, so
need
we have
you.
also shared
Yep.
it with our 1.4K subscribers on Substack.
Okay. So we're doing this outreach. We're inviting you to come in and join. And even if you don't fully understand it, okay, you can just participate and watch what's happening as more people volunteer and watch what happens when the women and Karma and AC work on their outreach to unions across the world. Okay. And you can watch what happens when Peter is working to get Canadians together. And if Queen Benita or Chris wants to participate in their angle, okay, and they want to come and put together an email campaign or a social media outreach that has to do with art or climate or women or men or Ukraine, whatever it is, we're going to be doing those campaigns behind the scenes, and you're going to come into this chat somewhere in the next month, and instead of 89 people, we're going to have a couple of thousand or 100,000 or whatever it is, and people are going to be united online. So um, I'm going to give you an idea of how an online campaign can work. So this morning I did a little research and I looked up, did Trump actually try to get access to the nuclear codes? Because I can never tell now what is legitimate news, what's propaganda, what's been skewed and manipulated. Okay. And so I'm concerned. I don't want the United States bombing anybody with nuclear weapons. That scares the shit out of me. That's not the world I want to live in. And I want to fight back against that. Okay. And I'd like you to help fight back against that. And the research I found, I went to Snopes and they confirmed there was I'll read it to you right now. Confirmed. The U.S. Joint Chiefs of Staff Air Force General Dan Kane stormed out of an emergency meeting with Trump. Insiders indicate that Trump wanted to invoke the nuclear codes as a deterrence against Iran, but Kane refused and invoked the U.S. military code of, or the U.S. Uniform Code of Military Justice. Okay. I believe that there's a very high probability that that was true. And Natasha is commenting, it's so hard to sift through the disinformation. Natasha, if we have 1 million or 1 billion people united online and we only work through the International Online Democratic Journalism Nation, okay, all of those journalists now, not only do we have AI filters that up front determine how much is propaganda and how much is true, okay, we have them benefiting financially from producing good journalism. We have them uniting with other journalists across the world and sharing these things. And what we're doing is, if you remember that image where the arrows, let's say that's from one of the news networks, like Fox News. Okay, that arrow from Fox News comes to our pro-democracy online citizen environment, and it just bounces off because our AI can very quickly evaluate what their story is and whether it's shit. And we don't have to read that first. We make sure that the journalism that we get, first and foremost, is legit. And that's what the online journalism nation can do. And journalists can actually get paid again. And the best ones and the influential ones can build their audience in a place where they get rewarded. And this is what happens when we unite online. We become self-determinant. We get to make the rules, right? They don't get access to us unless we grant it to them. So here's my thing. I allow Facebook to access me on a routine basis. Okay. I grant them access even though I don't like them. Whoever's there, can you please mute?
Yeah, I will be here most certainly at 5 p.m. I'd be most happy to show
Can
you all.
can someone mute, please?
Okay, see you then. Thanks. Yeah,
I Okay, sorry about that. I wasn't trying to cut someone off, but I just wanted to finish that thought. If you raise your hand, if we missed your raised hand, we will invite you in, but we ask that you raise your hand and give us a chance to complete the discussions that are happening. So let's see. So my point was, I'm granting Facebook access to me. Why isn't Facebook, as a free and democratic platform, taking a stand against the idea that the United States might start a nuclear war, right? Why aren't they making that a priority? And honestly, why aren't we demanding that they do? We're letting them commoditize us, and we're refusing to require anything from them in return. So part of these campaigns that we're working on behind the scenes, can you imagine if 100,000 or even 1,000 of us sent an email to Facebook that said, we are asking Facebook to come out as a pro freedom and democracy social media platform and to demand that the United States government not allow the nuclear codes to be released without congressional approval, as our Constitution indicates. And Facebook, we are going to hold you accountable to participate in that. You are one of the most powerful social media platforms based in the United States. And if you can't stand up against illegal nuclear war, then God damn it, we don't want to work with you. And we are going to find a way to filter you out. Now, I believe if we could force Facebook to respond to that, we could start to make things happen. And it's all based upon how many of us are going to collaborate, create these kinds of communications, and make things happen. And that's why we're here. So, I would just like to talk to you for a moment about karma. Karma and I have talked, and we've worked for a while on this stuff. And Karma's a single mom with 3 kids. Okay. And she didn't really think that she didn't really know what she was capable of. Okay. But when we asked for help, and when Karma saw some of the things that we are struggling with, she stepped up and said, I'd like to volunteer. I'd like to try to do some things to participate. And she's doing that. She's going to help us free up or Draco and Rakesh and myself to begin making some things happen. And she's just doing it in the best way that she can, but she's willing to step in and help. And that's what our email to the volunteers rolled out. And that's what we're asking from you. The guys are going to share a link to our website, and they're going to share an email address that you can participate in. So here's what we're going to do. I am not going to, I'm going to sort of end that before we go into our final section where we close out this show. And anyone who's here who would like to talk, who's up in the feed or who would like to get in the feed, raise your hand and you can stop Joel from talking. Otherwise, we're going to roll into the next section. So I know there was someone who was commenting a moment ago. If you would like to comment now, please raise your hand. We'd love to talk with you.
Brandy raised her hand in the chat. I don't think she knows how to do it on the actual screen, so she may want to come in.
Yeah, I know
There
how
you
to.
go, Brandy.
Can
Okay.
you all hear me well? Because I'm on my computer. I don't know how well it's working.
Yes,
It's
perfect.
awesome.
Okay. So the thing is I do have a platform on TikTok. Before the previous buyout that we had of the well, ironically, look, I'm accustomed to using words where we are so restricted and censored on TikTok, so we have to use words like the I entity instead of saying Israel. So if you use the word Zionist, you will be you'll get a ding against your account. So we have to use all these make believe words like pew pew instead of gun, boom boom instead of bomb, things of these natures. If you were to say nuclear codes, again, you would get restricted. So prior to that, I had about 10,000 followers. When I had to uninstall, reinstall, I'm all the way back. I'm getting back down to about 4,000 right now. There are people on there that are fiercely active. They are absolutely pro advocacy. There are some democratic socialists who are organizing labor strikes where they're actually getting together money to help support you if you choose to go on a labor strike. Which I find intriguing. Even if I'm not a part of that particular group or whatever, I am in touch with quite a few of. They are lawyers that they work on congressional law, things like that. So there's a bunch of individuals. This is the problem. TikTok was something you can literally open, swipe. You can go to any page you want, tap, join, or whatever. They bring you up on the panel, you jabber away, you can have a debate, have your argument. It's very extremely user friendly. And I did try to educate, especially on my platform, who is actually owning TikTok now and why it is such a not good place to be. It's very hard to draw somebody away from a platform where it is extremely user friendly. Zoom, they feel, is more restrictive. And they feel like maybe I'm not going to be heard on Zoom. Like I have something I want to say, but people aren't going to hear me if I'm using Zoom. Or if I get on Substack, like I'm not professional enough to create my own Substack show. I just have an opinion that I would like to share. I want to put my 2 cents in, right? And they want to know that whomever is hearing that 2 cents properly hears them. Or gives them some acknowledgement, right? Everybody wants that acknowledgement. And so I think that becomes a huge priority because when individuals feel like they're being heard, when they feel like, oh, I value your opinion, they get that validation, then that's when their motivation to return back again and again and again is something that mobilizes them. I've taken people from, being pro Trumpers who are, I've fact bombed them, which is what we call it, fact drop them so much information that they're like, OMG, did not know all that. Okay, I'm drawing the line. Like that's effed up. I don't want to be a part of that. And so I've actually drawn them over to quote unquote our side, whatever you want to call it. I don't think this is a sides issue for me personally. This is a pro democracy thing versus a fascism thing. So that's what I try to get through to them, and they see it for what it is now. So, how we do that here, I do think we're going to have to delve into the other platforms. Because they are so popular and they have millions upon millions of people. And to do that is going to be like I don't know. Like, I've tried to, like, many times I've said, "Hey, have you ever seen Aaron Parnas on Substack?" The response I get is, "Oh, what is Substack?" And so then I have to educate them about that. Or I ask them, certain other resources and they don't know what they are. So I think if we're going to be utilizing another platform, we need to be delving into those other platforms, making people aware, hey, we're here. Hi, we're over here. So if you'd like, that would, I think it needs to be a priority in order to galvanize because they have such a huge base to draw from. I mean, there are a lot of people who are literally think exactly what you're talking about. They feel exactly the same way. They're actually talking about what you're talking about. They are mobilizing about what you're mobilizing about. So, like, they're there. They're ready. They're waiting. They're ready to take up the mantle and to join up. They're just scattered. They're scattered amongst Instagram, TikTok, like to galvanize everybody together, I think should be like number one priority. And how we go about that, I'm not sure. Yes, I have my own platform on there. I don't know how big you guys are on other platforms. Like, I'm not big on Instagram. I don't even know if I have an Instagram thing, but pulling them over to one specific platform. So I don't know what you guys' thoughts are on that because I know the pool is huge. In other words, there's a lot of fish in that barrel, but how do we get that fish into our ponds? That I think is a huge thing. I don't know how you guys feel about that. Like, what are your ideas on how we can pull them to us? Any ideas? Like, because I know I can talk about it on my
Yeah.
platform. I do say things like, hey, go to bluevoterguide.org, things of that nature, but pulling them in to a constructive conversation where they actually do something more than just talk about something. Like actual activism is a big difference. There's a difference between talking about it and actual activism. So I don't know what your thoughts are.
Okay. I'm gonna give you some, Brandy. This is Joel. Before I do that, I'm gonna work with Peter for just a moment. Okay. So, Peter, can you can you see the people who have their hands raised on the Zoom screen with the yellow hand up there? I think you're on mute. Hey, Peter, I think you're
I
on
can
mute.
see them.
Okay, like that, like I can't see everybody at the same time.
There's a little blue arrow that you can click, and so you can sort of keep your eye on the different visuals that you have, which are the people that are in the queue who are actually here and available. Do you see that?
No.
Okay, we'll work with that after the show. So, Brandy, let me address what you talked about. This outreach. So there's different kinds of outreach that we're trying to implement. You are in a group that has myself, Draco, Rakesh, um, Nosib. These guys are working for me or with me from Bangladesh on this. And that's the extent of our team that way. Now we have Karma, we have Peter, we have Dr. Jesnal, and we have a number of other people who are volunteering to work with us. We know that we need to do this social media outreach. Just to give you a really brief idea, this started as our Substack. It was getting an enormous, I won't say an enormous, we were getting good support from women. And so we really chose to focus on the women's group and the online women's nation. Now, that has morphed and it's gone through just as you would expect. It's gone through some ups and downs and some bobs and weaves. And we're at a point right now where Karma and AC and some other ladies are functioning with that part of it. And they're putting together the first thing that they're working on is an email outreach to unions to try and give them some financial tactics that they can use as unions and then also to invite them in to join IOD Nations. We need people like you, Brandy, and that can be as simple as sharing it within your platform and with what you're doing with some of those other outlets, or stepping up and saying, hey, I think I could help you reach out to some of those other groups. If you could, if we could work together and get 3 or 4 people who would volunteer to work with Brandy on some of the social media outreach, we could begin making that happen. But with primarily the 3 of us, okay, that's Draco, Rakesh, and myself. By the time we do our live feeds, by the time we try and create some of our content, we just don't have there's only so much time in the day, right? They're working overseas, they're working long hours, and I've got a I've got a part-time job that I have to work. And so I roll immediately from these feeds into other things. But do not take that as defeatist. What we did today is we put out an email of help wanted. We have had about 200 people who have said they would volunteer and participate in different ways. And so, Brandy, I can pretty much, I believe in my heart that by the end of next week, we will have a group who's working behind the scenes like Peter is doing for Canada and like the gals are doing, and they will be doing that social media outreach. And that's where we are in that process. So Lee,
So yes,
I'm
yeah.
going I'm gonna come to Lee, but I would like that to just open that up, Brandy, for briefly. Can you can you tell me if that addressed sort of what you were talking about, and what your thoughts are after expressing it in that way?
Yes. So yeah, we do need to have, I think what we could put together is maybe 2 to 3 people who know other platforms very well. Like I'm very extremely familiar with TikTok. So yeah, I could definitely go over to TikTok. Hopefully not get banned in the process, because they are so heavily restricted. But if other people have other ways of educating and informing, hey, we need an individual on our team to help coach and platform them and say things like, we're putting together a team, because a lot of people use Discord where they can actually share files. So we can send over, like when we go, what we call the E files, which is Epstein files, when we start discussing those. So we can actually put them there, because again, we cannot read them aloud on TikTok, because we will get restricted for that. I think the biggest thing is here on Substack, I do not feel like we are as restricted in our speech as we're allowed to use all the words. And if we wanted to cuss up a storm, we would probably cuss up a storm without getting in trouble. I don't know. Um, so the thing is, that's the thing. I think if we push the fact that here on TikTok, number one, you are working for the enemy. Number two, you are giving a platform to individuals that you don't need to be giving a platform to, especially those radical people that are just, we don't need to hear from them anymore. They've had enough to say. They've already done their damage. That we just don't need them anymore. And there are certain individuals you cannot pull. You cannot. Like there's some individuals you can sway, but there's others that are not. Now is not the time to be sitting there trying to drag them over. They've already proven themselves time and time again. It's enough. We're
Yeah.
done. We're done. You're radicalized enough. You've said your piece. You voted the way you voted.
Yep.
We're over that. Right now we're at the point where once we get in there during the midterms in 2026, what legislation do we need to be recommending to those new individuals that get into office that they actually put into place? So like
Okay.
that is something that I think if we coached individuals and we picked key things. Number one, we're going to teach you how to, use this new platform, Substack. We're going to teach you how to advocate on whatever it is you're interested in. Say they're interested in immigration, right? Like we're going to start providing you with as much information about immigration as possible, and you can be the person that focuses on that thing. and they feel a sense of purpose and duty in that one particular thing. And then from there, say we have somebody that's really good at Instagram, if we could find a way
Yep.
to, there's a few, you know what I'm saying? So a person in each
So
individual
let me,
place. Is that making sense?
I want to, oh, it makes total sense.
Like
And
a team
that's what
leader within each concept or category.
this,
Is that there you go?
yes.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. So and I'm going to come to Lee right after this. So
Yeah,
Brandy,
Lee, I'm
that's
so
exactly,
sorry. I'm
no,
long-winded,
no,
Lee. I'm so sorry.
but, but, but this is exactly what we're talking about, Brandy. So I would say the same thing to you that I said to Peter when he talked about Canada. Okay. Um, I don't know your availability. I don't know your inclination, but that what you're talking about is, sorry about the dog. Hold on. Bucky, quiet.
Well, I've got kids and everything, and I'm terminally ill. So this is my version of doing what I do because I can't go to protest. I can't do a lot. I
Okay.
am very financially, I'll just say I'm poor. I get my SSDI. I haven't been able to see a doctor in a year and a half, and it's awful because of
Shit.
Abbott. Abbott is a POS. Um, he forced all the rural communities off onto a version of Medicaid that is not being accepted by major hospitals, like MD Anderson Cancer Center and things like that. I'm here in Texas, so I mean, I worked in the medical industry for 13 years. It is very disheartening. So this is my version of advocacy because I can't get up and go to protest. That's why I think what you're doing is the thing that, thank you, Lee, is the thing that is important because there's a lot of people who want to do things, but they don't have one, either the courage to go out on the streets because they're legitimately afraid for very good reason. They don't want to go to jail. They don't want to get hit by a pepper ball or sprayed in the face or, such and so forth. They don't want to get in trouble. Like, I understand their fear, and it's understandable. So if the online thing that you're referencing, I think, again, if we pull from all of those things, when you put that globe up and you showed it, there, my platform, the followers that I lost were actually the followers from EU, UK, Canada. I had followers from Lithuania, Georgia, all these other like countries that they were following me. I had a very multi-international platform. Every single one of them participated in the No Kings in their own country. So that's the thing, is they are out there. They're there. They genuinely, as a matter of fact, I don't know if you're aware of this, Iran just put out We Love America video. I don't know if you've seen it, but
I
OMG.
did. It's great.
It's
It's really
like
good.
saying we love America, and but the people who are speaking from you are the ones hurting you. So the fact that
Mhm.
even Iran, who, and I can't say too terrible much. I have family members that are high level military. I can't speak a whole bunch, but the fact that they are willing to put out a video like that saying, like, you the people, we understand your constitution, we understand that it's being trampled on. If they can put out that kind of video, yes, I understand it's propaganda, and Iran is no innocent actor. I'm not gonna fluff them up or
Yeah,
anything like
we
that.
don't,
Yeah, no,
we
they're
don't,
not
we,
innocent. Neither is
yeah, yeah.
Israel, but neither one. But still,
Okay.
point being,
Br-
if they can represent,
Brandy,
we are losing our voice.
hey, Brandy, can we get a way to talk with you after the show? Because
Yeah.
I would love to do that. If you can either drop us an email down in the
Hmm.
chat, or the guys will put our email there and you can email us, or you can stay and talk with us after the chat. There's a lot to talk with you about that I think will really inspire you. Perfect. So we're going to do that. I'm going to reach out to Lee now. And Lee, I really, really apologize for having you
So
wait so
sorry, Lee.
long.
Please forgive me.
Not a problem.
Go ahead.
So I'm new to the group. I just signed up today, and I joined this late. So um, my question, I guess, is that all of us, I'm sure, are parts of, like Brandy's part of TikTok. I'm on Blue Sky. I used to be on Twitter. I'm a little bit on Instagram, et cetera, et cetera. And I am confused as to how, I guess, IOD Nations functions. It seems like it wants to be an umbrella organization, but there are lots of umbrella organizations. I mean, Blue Sky is one, which tends to be progressive people. Mastodon is another. Discord is another. And it just seems that there are lots of followers there, right? And they do lots of good stuff, it seems. Quora is another one, come to think of it. And I guess, are we getting into something where a lot of people are doing the same thing? Or what is it that makes us different? And as a suggestion, is it that once we collect some people interested in topic X, we then shuffle them to, someone that we like I follow some elections. I try to get some Democrats elected, right? And I'm in the United States, by the way, Peter. And uh, I want to get, so and so elected in New York, let's say. Do I use IOD nations to get people who are interested in turning around some of these specific nation elections? Is that how I use it? Maybe I'll stop there.
It's okay. Um, those are great questions, and I'm gonna actually go into a part, our second part of our. Did, so were you here, Lee, to see the first video where we had Planet Earth and we talked about it?
No,
Okay.
I'm sorry.
No. Okay. So let me. I won't go into that. I won't play that again, but I'm going to ask Draco to pull up the two slides that follow that. And I will try and address your questions with a visual. We're trying to create a video of this that will be uh, set up and ready to go. But again, we're trying to do a lot of different things. But Draco is going to um, share two slides with us that he was working on this morning. So I'm not sure exactly which one he's going to give us. But go ahead and show the first one, Draco. Okay. So here's what we're talking about, Lee, and here's what you're referring to. Let's let's say uh, I'm identifying it as these categories, okay? Um, one of these could be, you mentioned Blue Sky or you mentioned the others, okay? We have all of these organizations or causes that everybody is uniting on. It could be climate, it could be unions, it could be Ukraine, it could be women, it could be Canadians, whatever it is. And you have like the main part of that, and then you have other parts of that. So you might have pro-democracy instead of Canadian nation, and you would have Blue Sky there, and you would have Indivisible and Act Blue and all of these others. And all of these different organizations that are in these certain categories, they're all, as you see by the arrows, they're all reaching out to people, right? And they're trying to get people to support them. Maybe they want a donation. Maybe they want you to become a part of their group or whatever it is. And they're all reaching out. And women's groups, it could be Now, it could be Planned Parenthood, it could be these other organizations. And they're reaching out and they're trying to get women, for instance, to come in and be a part of what they're doing. And so you're absolutely right. There is all of this split effort, and it's not functioning well. We are in the place that we're in because it's not working well. So go to the second image if you could, Draco. Here's what makes IOD nations different. Here's what's different about coming in and being a part of IOD nations. What IOD nations says is, I'm going to be really kind of blunt here, okay? First of all, We need all of these people that you see on your screen who are standing together. We need all of them to stop thinking about their individual issues that they want to have addressed before they're going to unite. And what we're saying is the power becomes when you're united. Okay. So, for instance, if we worked with Brandy and she got a bunch of people from overseas or from whoever, from TikTok or whatever it is, and they all came in and united, and Peter's successful with the people of Canada, okay, and they reach out to Denmark and Greenland and they decide they want to do it. The power, what makes us different is when we're united. And then when we're united, let's say it's the women's nation, it's the pro-democracy women of the world who decide to unite as a part of this big group of people. They get to prepare their messaging. Okay. So, like Brandy was talking about the outreach, the Planned Parenthood and now and whoever these other groups are that now come under the umbrella of the IOD Women's Nation, which is under the umbrella of International Online Democracy. Now they get to create a cohesive messaging. And when they put it out, when they're asking people to support them, they're now putting it out to 1,000 or 100,000 or 1,000,000 or 1 billion women who are united online. And it changes the whole power structure because now this massive group of pro-democracy citizens who's united online, they simply get to look at a proposal from the IOD Women's Nation online. And if 5,000 or whatever of the massive group of online democratic citizens support it, it immediately needs to get dealt with. And this women's nation can determine how they want to champion that and how they want to take it forward. But it's exactly what you referred to. There's all these different umbrella organizations out there, and we're not collaborating. We are not using our power and influence that happens when we are united. And being online, it makes it this easy. Someone else in the comments made a comment and they said, well, how do you do this at one click? Okay. If 1 million people sent an email or went into our website, which actually has a portal to begin collaborating and working together. If 1 million people did that and said, I want to be a pro-democracy citizen of the world, we would now have 1 million people for Brandy or for Karma or for Peter, who's working with Canada, right? Imagine if Peter was putting together a campaign for outreach to Canadian citizens to get them to unite online. Imagine if some of the bigger groups like unions or the ones who united to not buy American products who are already united online to stop purchasing homes and taking their vacations in the United States. If we had 10 or 50 people send those emails or 100 or 1,000, you could unite enough people in Canada to create a national movement. And literally within a couple days or a day, you could have an online citizen-led Canadian democracy. And those citizens could immediately roll in and be forming their constitution. This is how we want to function as an online democratic Canadian citizenry. Okay. And we're parallel to, and we can collaborate with our traditional government, but we're independent. We're going to do our own things and we're going to exercise our power and influence as a unified, strategic, and tactical entity in the world. And so that's what's different about this. That's why we're trying this different outreach. That's why when Brandy tells me that she's got contacts in these foreign countries, okay, look, you've got the Baltic states that are under threat from Russia right now. You could have Ukraine and every Baltic state, the citizens of those nations could unite online and form their online democratic nations. They could now collaborate economically and apply pressure to China to stop China from funding the war that Russia is doing. And there's very strategic ways that they could accomplish that. It's right there at the touch of a mouse. I could, this is really going to sound crazy, but literally, I could tell you a way that 1,000 people could unite online and shut down any medium-sized city government in the world, any country. It's it's possible to do that online with as few as 1,000 people if it's coordinated and tactical. And Sun Tzu said, the supreme art of war is to subdue the enemy without fighting. This is what the internet does. The internet makes my phone and my mouse the equivalent of a nuclear deterrent. Because with enough people, all we do is threaten them. We're going to come after you, Facebook, if you don't allow us to run ads using the words freedom and democracy. We're done with this shit. We're not going to give you direct access to us if you're not going to be pro freedom and democracy. And so that's how we see this as different. What are your thoughts when you hear that, Lee?
Um, I guess so. It's like a big megaphone, I think is what you're saying, where you can take people whose interest, say, is in women, and they have access to people who are in Canada, Canadian women. And so women all over the world, in addition to Canadian women, are united in this platform. But then I guess my question is, a lot of these groups that we're all probably part of. Indivisible is one you mentioned, the No King stuff. They're the ones that organize the action. Are you saying that you're sort of a meta organization that, you know, will coordinate Indivisible along with the folks in Discord or something like that?
I'm what I'm saying is that the women of the world are going to unite online and they're going to determine who they collaborate with and how they collaborate. I'm saying that the artists of the world are going to unite online. And remember, we're talking about uniting online democratically because there are only two forms of human collaboration. It's either primarily authoritarian or primarily free and democratic. Those are the only ways that human beings and the veterans, like Dr. Jesnel said, okay, imagine if all of the veterans of the world, right, who have been abused by their governments, like is happening in Russia right now, what Russia is doing to their young men, okay, if those veterans all unite online, almost all of them are going to be against war. And now we saw, I'm sure a bunch of you saw a protest. I think there were 200 veterans that went into Congress and they were zip tied. Okay. Now, imagine if those 200 veterans had been 1,000 veterans and 1,000 veterans who did it coordinated in nations across the world. And they said, if you don't stop this shit, okay, if you don't prevent those nuclear codes from getting into Trump's hands without going through Congress, okay, we're coming after you economically, online, very strategic and tactically. And not only is it going to be the online Democratic Women's or Veterans Nation, we're collaborating with the Women's Nation because we all understand that only through democracy do each of these groups get the increased power and influence. The real power and the real influence comes, like I think I was talking to Stacy or whatever, when the women unite with the men, who unite with the Canadians, who unite with the artists, and they all say, hey, assholes, if you want direct access to us, okay, if you want to commoditize us and sell advertising to us and get us to buy your products, you got to show us your pro democracy, because that's our first and primary filter when you enter our online nations. Hey, Draco, can you pull up that slideshow for Lee and go to the one with the IOD nations united in their online environment? And we can, with the arrows bouncing back. So where the arrows come to our environment and then bounce back. I'm looking, I don't see any other hands. So I'm going to address that with you, Lee, in just a minute, and then we're going to move this show forward, and I think it'll also help answer a couple of other questions. So the image that you see on your screen, the the outside white line is the internet. The internet is a fully encompassing environment. It's its own atmosphere that 30 years ago was built, and it now surrounds our whole world. Okay. Every business, every government, every entity, they all create their own space on there. So Indivisible could be out here, right? Indivisible could be one that's not authoritarian, or it is quasi-authoritarian, but it's one that could be more of a good actor that we would see out here. And you could have Act Blue out here. I chose to illustrate this with what I call negative influences, like a YouTube or a TikTok that won't allow you to use certain words. But what we say is we can create our own virtual environment that surrounds us and planet Earth, right? Anybody can. The internet is just a big wide open space. It's like the Wild West. We can go hunt for gold. And our gold is when the women unite online, or when the citizens of, or the artists of the world unite online, or the citizens of Ukraine unite online. Each of them can unite and represent themselves and freedom and democracy at the same time. And what you're witnessing with these arrows that you can see in this image, that's, for instance, if you look at YouTube, that's YouTube trying to get access to us. Okay. But what happens is, because we all united online democratically, we're saying to YouTube, sorry, you don't get direct access to us. You don't get to commoditize us unless you're pro freedom and democracy. And you have to prove it. Every fucking day, you have to prove it. And if you don't, you have to go through filters to get access to us. And we're probably going to establish our own online democratic YouTube. And that is the essence of this. This inner white circle is sort of that overall umbrella organization. Does that make more sense now?
It does. It looks like there's a leapfrog thing that you're doing that's primarily leapfrogging over, geographical boundaries, because you have like Iran and Russia and the U.S. and stuff like that, and making sure that those people are connected, within the framework of being pro-democratic people. So, for instance, I'm part of all sorts of groups that are trying to like elect a certain person, in a certain geography. And they probably are going to have a good grasp on the people within that geography. So they're probably doing a good job there. And IOD Nation is not intended to replace what they do there, but to connect, that one, say, House district, just to talk about the United States, with another House district that may be dealing with similar questions, one being in Virginia, the other being in California or whatever, making that connection. Is that kind of part of it?
It is, but what it is, it's both a connection of those entities, but what it really is, it's a connection of the citizens who reside where that entity exists, right? And so the citizens of a whole bunch of districts
Do we have
can,
our own portal? Do we have our
we
own
do.
portal? Okay.
Yeah,
We
I'll
have our
show
own
it to you.
portal where we're going to be able to. So I get on TikTok. Hey guys, I'm part of IOD Nation. This is something I want to draw your attention to. I am a group leader within, say, medical. I've, like I said, I'm terminally ill. I've been dealing with the medical industry for 13 years. I'm proficient in it, whatever. So, but directing them to that portal, which again, you're not supposed to redirect away from TikTok. So this is going to be kind of sticky. Lee, I do not know how that works on Sky or Instagram or anything. I do not know how they feel about redirecting any individual away from their particular platform, because that's a huge no-no on the majority of these other platforms. Is you're not supposed to redirect an individual away from that platform. So if I were to say, hey, go over to, YouTube, you have to say the red and black site, you have to say things like that. So now I don't think they have a problem with redirecting to Discord. I don't think they have a rule against that. I delete. I don't know if they have a rule on Blue Sky about that, because that's a platform that I haven't gotten into yet. So I don't know if they have that type of restriction. But again, I think what I'm hearing is specific groups within IOD that will go recruit direct to the portal and then start training from there on what do we need from XYZ to accomplish ABC. So that what you're hearing as well, Lee? Are you getting that same kind of message, Lee?
Yeah. Uh,
Okay.
I
We're going
think,
to show
yeah.
you the portal.
Okay, yeah. So and somebody in also on they were concerned about infiltration, which of course is always an issue. That is just there's like practically no way to keep somebody from infiltrating your platform, causing problems. It's the nature of the game. I guess we would have to have a dedicated individual to say, hey, if you want to become part of IOD, we really need to review videos you've made, things that you've said publicly. We kind of want to know where you stand other than just what you're vocally giving us right now. That it would take a bit of background looking into in order to kind of prevent an individual. Of course, they can create fake stuff, all kinds of AI tools, blah, blah, blah. I mean, I've even ran into Russian bots myself.
Well,
And
and
they're
so I'm going to
probably
give you, I'm going to I want to keep this moving forward, Brandy. So please don't take offense. But
no, 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 no.
so Taiwan has already done this. Okay, Taiwan has created a whole online. Um, it's called V Taiwan. They've been running it for 11 years or more now. They are bombarded by China millions of times a day electronically. Okay, they are under constant attack. You can go do a little bit of research, and they have very specific tactics and strategies and groups that are working against this, and they're actually proving how it can be done against one of the most powerful online enemies of freedom and democracy in the world. But Rakesh, can you or Draco open up and screen share our site that where the portal is so we can give people a brief view of this before we move forward with what we're going to work to accomplish today, because I definitely want to talk about AC and Karma and their union email outreach. Okay,
So
so what?
he-
Go ahead.
here is our website. So if you go to iodnations.org, you can see a join option at the top right hand corner. Just click on there. Uh, it will take you here, and you can just sign in with your Google account, or you can just type in your name and your email address. Then you can just continue. So let's go with Google account.
Okay, yeah, I have been to the portal then. Okay.
Yeah, I was there
Yeah,
this morning, I think.
yeah.
So
You can see. Yeah, Joel, go ahead.
So basically what the objective here is you can just come in and become part of the citizenry, okay? You can also come in and you can go to the social network, which we're all of these are beta, right? We're all working through these, and ultimately I think they'll get replaced by something with someone who's way more advanced than we are. But we're trying to show you visually what's possible, and we're improving it every day. We're just trying to do it. Now, you could also click on volunteer, or you could click on email campaigns. So for instance, email campaigns or volunteer, Peter is going to be behind the scenes working on these two things for Canada. So if you want to support Canada and help us get Canadians to unite online, because honestly, I think they're more likely to do it quicker than Americans are. I think some of those people in the Baltic and European nations, like Brandy referred to, I think they understand better this idea of uniting online and collaborating than Americans do. So you can you can come in, and so for instance, Rakesh, if you were to come in and wanted to support Peter, if it was his campaign that you wanted to review, you'd go into the Civic Action tab, okay? And you could review and participate in current actions. So you would click on that, and Peter's campaign would pop up and would give you a brief overview of it, would tell you about who's involved in it, what are the tactics and strategies they're working on right now, what's their social media outreach plan, and what are their email campaigns. And you could say, oh, I like this one. I want to support Canada. Boom. I'm going to go in and evaluate. I'm going to upvote the things that they're working on, or I'm going to volunteer to work with them. And that's one of the ways that I'm going to participate in online citizen-led democracy. So you might volunteer that way and really come in and work behind the scenes. You also might say, I'm not inclined to work behind the scenes, but if you guys put together an email campaign where I can just copy and paste an email template and you give me email addresses in Canada, well, hell, I'll do that. That only takes a few minutes, you know, a week or a day. I'll send those emails with you because I realize that if 100 people send an email to some specific entities or people, we're way more likely to get a response than if just 1 or 2 people send those emails. And so this is a part of that integration. This is a part of how we see these actions going forward. And so if you listen to what I referred to earlier about V Taiwan and the young lady who put up a proposal to ban plastic straws, she would have submitted it here. And immediately, if the cutoff was, if this was up and running and we had a large base of supporters, if 5,000 people supported the online Democratic Women's Nation banning plastic straws, right? Boom, they support it. the Online Democratic Women's Nation says we're going to pass that as part of the laws of our nation. We, as the Online Democratic Women of the world, we don't support the use of plastic straws. And here's how we're going to work towards that. And the citizens get to decide on where their emphasis is.
Okay, so
And
you know what? I just picked up on a key thing here. Okay, we all know about indivisible.org and how massive it is, right? We get it.
yep,
We know how huge they are. But one thing that I do know is that my individual voice is but a drop in the bucket on that. I can be part of the Democratic Party. My voice is, a tenth of a drop of the bucket in that, especially since I'm not a financial, person. But on this type of specific platform, this is where I can directly contribute. And yes, if this, say, were to have 5 million users, right? So, say we could even pull Adam Mockler or, Dean Wither
exactly.
into this and have them even just one video saying, hey, you know what, I noticed this new organization, IOD. You can go in,
Yes.
you can put what you would like to see our congressmen or senators, or do you have a message you would like directly to say to Trump or whomever? Or I'm sorry, I call him Kegseth. My whole family's military. I do not like the man. I hate the man. So to me, now that I've seen the portal more directly, Lee, is it making sense to you? How do you feel like you and I, because I know that me and you, we get on our platform, we'll say our things, invite our guests up, and there's a lot of talk about what we can and can't, da 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 da, right? But then how do we actually put that into action? I think this portal gives us that tool for the action. Like I will always promote bluevoterguide.org. And even though I'm not on either side of the aisle right now, I recognize that here in America, we are stuck with the two parties. For right now, I do feel that, the right is definitely a threat to us. So I do promote bluevoterguide.org. You simply go to that webpage, you put in your location. You can click on the individual candidates. It will tell you about who's supporting them and where they're getting their money from. Just for example, Talarico, you can clearly see that he did not have any APAC money coming in. You could see the same thing for Jasmine. Did I vote for Jasmine? Hell yes. She's a badass. Like that woman took down, Clarence, that woman took down Kavanaugh, and just brought those men to their knees. And that was just a thing to behold, right? So that was beautiful. But did she win? No. Do I think there was a little bit of interference? Okay. But here, right, if I go here to this portal, I can put in a specific thing, and then other IOD members can either send me information, support me with more information, talk directly with me, collaborate with me. So I can take my platform, direct them here, say, this is where I need you to meet me at, because I feel like you're a person who could contribute to me directly. And then maybe the lead is, now that I've seen the platform, like the actual site, do you feel like you could do that with Blue Sky? Like, hey, can you join me over here and see if we can collab a few ideas out and actually have a person that maybe they are in DC or would be willing to take a trip to DC and go directly to a specific congressman or senator to present an idea? Because even though
Well,
it's citizen led, the money required to do this is very minimal. That's what I'm looking at. I'm seeing the financial input, risk, reward. That's what I'm seeing. Financially, what am I putting into this? Practically nothing. I'm sure you guys are. But me on the other hand, I simply cannot. But
Yep.
what I can
So
do,
let's let Lee respond, and then
yeah,
I'm going to
yeah,
show you something, Brandy, that will
okay.
really even take this to another level. Hey, Draco, after Lee comments, can you pull up our ad that we made for Jasmine Crockett?
Awesome.
yeah, she was great.
Go ahead,
So I
Lee.
guess while he's doing that, I was trying to think worldwide, what are the things that involve everybody? Well, climate does, nuclear weapons does, um, and in general, you know, the various media that have gotten corrupted, like we talk about, those are things that are worldwide. And um, I think maybe what we're saying for IOD nations is that this is the counterweight to them. Like, you know, is there any organization currently out there that unites worldwide on climate? Well, actually, maybe there is, I don't know, or, you know, anti-nuclear weapons or whatever. But it seems that we need to find niches which jump over geographical boundaries, right, that are not connected now. Like, you know, within, I'm on Blue Sky, for instance, and the last time I checked a month or so ago, there were 40 million followers on Blue Sky. That's pretty big, but it's also varied. I mean, on Blue Sky, there are a lot of great progressives, and I follow too many of them I could spend 24 hours a day following them all. And so within that, if you follow, say, Heather Cox Richardson, you know, she gives you a lot of good information. If you follow Jess Craven, she gives you a lot of good action items. Um, I think, you know, to the extent that people are interested in those things that are progressive, there are a lot of actors in Blue Sky that already connect people, right? And in the connecting, Jess Craven is a good example. Action items are given, limited by geography. You know, Jess Craven doesn't operate in Russia. Um, but, and I'm also thinking about the EU. Talk about a group that needs cohesion in the face of Russia and China, and now, unfortunately, Trump. Um, would there be something that is not yet done that could unite people in Latvia with the people in France, et cetera, so that there's more of a cohesive group via IOD nations
So
than there is now?
so we're going to play that commercial for Jasmine Crockett that we did. Lee, the 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 point of all of this is if you're pro climate, freedom and democracy, the more people who are united free and democratically, the nations that are free and democratic have much better climate records. Okay. If you're pro women's rights, okay, the nations that are more free and democratic, women have much higher quality of life. If you're poor or disabled, okay, the nations that are free and democratic, your life is going to be much better. Okay. If you're small business, your small business in a free and democratic society has a much higher likelihood of success. The reason why we call it online citizen-led democracy is because every person who's listening to this now, whether it's women's rights, whether it's climate, whether it's economics, whether it's national sovereignty for Canada, no matter whether it's preventing the Baltic nations from being invaded, there's one common thread that serves all of these, and that's freedom and democracy. And that's why we're saying all you have to do is unite in one place under the umbrella of freedom and democracy. And now let Brandy come in and pitch what she wants to pitch. Let Karma come in and pitch it. You know, Brandy's issue could be we need better protections for people who are disabled. And the International Online Democratic Disabled Nation of the world, they can work with the women. The common thread that's here, it's so I'm going to play you a really, really crazy commercial. Peter, I hope I don't scare you away here. Like it, so you need to understand something. We're going to play the commercial for Jasmine, and then we're going to play another commercial for you. The thing that I struggle with so much here is this is not a complex issue. This is just purely as simple as can we get 1 million people to send their contact information to one location online? And the minute they do, if they're pro-democracy, if that's the reason they do it, you now have 1 million people united online under the umbrella of being pro-democracy. Okay. The minute you have that million people, I cannot even begin to explain to you all of the things that start happening because all of these people like Peter and Karma and Brandy and Lee, you get to come in and you get to pitch your thing. And if you have a good sales pitch, you could win their support. And if you don't, there's going to be people in there who like what you're doing and they're going to try and help you develop a better pitch, right? They're going to say, hey, I really believe in what Lee submitted, but kind of did a crappy job at it, right? Or Peter, he's not really tech savvy. He's trying to get the people of Canada to unite. How can I go in and help Peter? And we're asking for this right now. Are there some people here who would go in and help Peter from a social media and content creation standpoint to support Canada? We need that. We need Peter's communications to Canadians to have some fun videos or some really powerful messaging other than just sending text. So here's an example of a powerful social media message that could be created. This is a takeoff of Jasmine Crockett's video, which was nominated as one of the most innovative videos for Democrats. And in this, I tried to show Jasmine Crockett saying to the citizens of Texas, I'm a bold new leader, and I'm inviting the citizens of Texas to unite online democratically and to create their own parallel online citizen led democracy based upon this idea. If a business no longer requires brick and mortar, then a nation or a democratic collaboration no longer requires land and borders. So let's look at this video.
How about this new one they have? Their new star, Crockett. How about her? She's the new star of the Democrat Party, Jasmine Crockett. They're in big trouble. But you have this woman, Crockett. She's a very low IQ person. I watched her speak the other day. She's definitely a low IQ person. Crockett. Oh, man. Oh, man. She's a very low IQ person. Somebody said the other day she's one of the leaders of the party. I said, you got to be kidding. Now they're going to rely on Crockett. Crockett's going to bring them back.
People have been telling us what we can't do our whole lives. They say we can't turn out the vote. In Texas, we refer to those types as all hat and no cojones. I am going to unite the pro-democracy citizens of Texas online before the election. I will create a new way for Texans to unite online and help lead and govern this great state. My name is Jasmine Crockett. Don't vote for me unless I earn your vote before the election. Donald Bone Spurs Trump is yellow like mustard, but without the bite. Oh, I have a special message for Greg Abbott. I don't care if you are in a wheelchair or not. You are so crooked, you could swallow nails and spit out corkscrews. Y'all best buddy your butthole and call me a biscuit. There's a new sheriff in town.
So this is what we need to be doing, right? We need bold, assertive, funny, crazy messaging. Anything that we can do that brings more people to unite online democratically. So I'm going to show you another crazy video. Okay. And this one might turn some of you off, but understand I've been trying to get people to talk about this for 10 years. And I made a vow that I would do or say damn near anything to get people to do it. So Draco, can you play the first version to the citizens of Denmark from our proposed podcast, The Elephant in the Room? Just let me know when you have it ready. We'll see it on the screen. So what's going to happen after this to everyone who's here? We're going to come back and we're going to if you don't run away after you see this video, we're going to come back and we're going to talk about the actions that we're putting in place and what we're doing to work with the volunteers. We're going to talk about the union email campaign that the women have put together, and we're going to move forward and start making things happen. I got to warn you, for some of you, you may be offended by this video, but I'm going to blame all of that on Karma, okay? Because it's all her fault. She watched it and she said, I'll paraphrase, it's offensive, but it's not as offensive as I thought it was going to be. So sorry if I hung you out to dry there, Karma. Please forgive me.
Don't
But
forget, I
Draco,
also said that it wasn't that noticeable until you said it. So they'll see when they
that'll be
see.
interesting to see how the crowd interprets this. So, Draco, are you ready to show that one? Or did I throw that on you too quickly? Okay, here we go, guys. Remember, I will say or do damn near anything to promote online citizen-led democracy. Hello, Denmark, and Mette Fredriksen. I've been told that a famous Danish adage says, "He who is afraid to ask is afraid to learn." Please ask yourselves, why not have the citizens of Denmark unite online and form and found the world's first international, online, democratic, citizen-led nation? Imagine this. It's January 15th, 2026, and more than 5 million Danes have united in one location online to establish the IOD Denmark nation, the first ever international, online, democratic, citizen-led nation. The citizens of Denmark go on to win the Nobel Peace Prize, and online democratic nations led by Denmark, Ukraine, Iran, Bangladesh, Poland, and others become the world leaders of international online democracy, the brave new world of freedom and democracy on planet Earth. Bernard Shaw said, "You see things and ask why. I dream things and ask why not." Ask, how can the citizens of Denmark unite to protect their sovereignty and freedom and democracy across the world? International, online, citizen-led democracy. So obvious. It's like an elephant's penis. Join us. Like, share, subscribe, do whatever has to happen. We are going to change the world.
Make democracy offensive, what's the price? Power to the people, not the roll of dice. Unite online, ignite the fight. Blow this shit up, bring the wrong to light. Algorithm scheming got your mind in a cell. Scrolling through the circus while the earth yells.
Go ahead, Draco, you can stop it.
But the masses sleepwalking, trapped in the spell. What's it gonna take?
So, the point is, the fact that everyone who's here in today's show can click a mouse or tap their screen, go to iodnations.org and become a part of the community. And you can participate in a campaign with Peter for Canada. You can participate with AC and Karma on the email campaign that is an outreach to unions. You can submit your own campaign ideas. If you have a cause that's important and you think you can bring a group of people in, like Brandy may be able to do, come in. As long as you're here to support us and to support online citizen-led democracy, we need you and we want to support you in what you're trying to achieve. And we will do or say damn near anything to get that to happen. And right now, a general just walked out of a meeting with the President of the United States because he asked for the nuclear codes. Okay. Last week, we could have ended up in a situation with sundowner syndrome with a guy who has Alzheimer's, almost certainly. And we could have ended up with the United States dropping a nuclear weapon on a nation and on the world for no reason. And if that's not enough of a reason to unite online democratically, I just don't know what else will convince you. But if it hasn't yet, stick around because you can still watch and observe if you're not ready to step in and join us. And we are going to make it happen. We are going to get the pro-democracy citizens of the world to unite online because it's so fucking obvious. So, anybody want to comment before we move in to close out this show? Brandy, did you like our commercial for um
Second.
oh my, Jasmine?
Yeah, see, here's the thing. Look, a lot of people, especially on our side, because we're so used to being accommodating, respectful, reasonable, rational, right? A lot of people are like, OMG, no. Like, but at the same time, look at our influencers across the spectrum. Do they do things the PC way? No. Do they do things the, goody two shoes way? No, they don't. They go out there, they do some radical stuff, and they do some attention grabbing stuff. One of the things that catapulted Jasmine was the fact that a reporter was down on the steps. She was coming down, and it was when Elon was still trying to meddle in our government, which he still is. Starlink, FU. But anyways, so the thing is the reporter came down the steps. If he asked if you had one thing to say to Elon Musk right now, what would it be? And she was like, "Fuck you," and then she just turned around and walked off. So that type of thing where, she got into the argument with Marjorie Taylor Greene and she called her a big back gorilla, things of that nature. That's what catapulted Jasmine of, getting to the point where it was like people we're tired of playing nice. Time for the boxing gloves to come off. Like we're just like enough. We can do the PC thing, of course we can, but at the same time, I think that's what disconnected us from a lot of other people. They thought, oh, they think they're hoity-toity, they think they're too good, they can't take a joke, they take themselves too seriously, they're a bunch of elitists and da 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 da. I feel if we step into the arena and we're willing to fight fire with fire, just as Newsom, was stating and things like that,
Yes.
it did galvanize a lot of people. And even though it might turn some of the really staunch people off, I don't think that they're going to have a choice if there's enough of us that are willing to go toe to toe. And it doesn't even have to be like nothing in that video was a personal attack. Nothing in that video was completely out of line, as opposed to, Commander in Chief saying he's going to annihilate a civilization. I think that pretty much tops the cake. So if Commander in Chief can say some BS like that, then why the heck can't an organization say, look, this is how we're going to get your attention? Like, we want you to wake the fuck up. We need listen to what we're trying to say. So I think that some people might be squeamish about it, but at the same time, especially the younger generation, I know if my daughter were to see that, my son were to see that, I know the younger generation, if they're willing to see that, then they would laugh. It would pique their interest. They'd be like, well, what is that about? They would start being more curious and asking more questions. So just like South Park did, like South Park annihilated Trump, right? Just hardcore. You know, look at the TV people that if they've tried to get taken down off the air, because clearly it works. It gets people attention, hence the reason they're trying to take it down. That's why I love the statement. If your voice had no power, why would they be trying to silence you? If you didn't matter, why would they be trying to suppress you? You know, so like that's, I think that's a thing. Like we're gonna have to step into that. But I think we're so used to wanting to not offend, not to, you know, hurt anybody's feelings, that it feels almost awkward to step back into that. Nah, like enough's enough. Fire with fire. Let's
Well,
go. Bring it.
yep. And so what's interesting about that, Brandy, is this is not a binary choice. Okay. We don't have to do one or the other, right?
Hmm.
Peter, Peter may look at that and say, Joel, I thought that was funny, but it's probably a bit much more than I want to do when I'm working with Canadians. Okay. I would probably choose to go a bit of a different direction. And I'd say, Peter, I trust your judgment. And it really doesn't matter whether I trust your judgment, right? This is you working with people to create content and outreach to Canadians. I'm not, I, I am not some authoritarian entity over this. Okay. I have one objective for IOD Nations: to get as many people as possible to unite online democratically. And as long as if you want to work with us and you want to be a part of IOD Nations, if you can participate in that, then do it. Now, is there some stuff that could be over the top that I might say, hey, could you? I really don't want IOD Nation's name on that. Yeah, but we're we want a group of people to work with Peter. Okay. I want Brandy, I would like to get you in here, and I would like to help get a group of people, or you have a group of people, and start going after some of the things that are important to you. We've got there's a gal named Sarah who's a part of the women's group. She's disabled. She's a military veteran. Okay. And there are ties there that could be strategic. And she's got connections with the US military. So there's all kinds of different ways and different groups that can work together. And sooner or later, some of them are going to pop, and groups are going to get in here and they're going to get fucking pissed, and they're going to start outreach. And a lot of people are going to recognize what we're talking about. And Peter agrees with that, and I agree with it. And there's 200 people who have said they want to work with us. Karma, did you want to say anything, or does anyone else before we sort of move this to close out the show today?
I can wait until the postmortem.
Okay.
I just want
So
to, if I could just add
go
one
ahead.
thing, with
Yeah.
this format also, news spreads, but we only get the news from what we see on CNN or CBC or CTV, and they're all owned by certain corporations. I don't really know what's going on, really the real gist of what's going on anywhere. But we get these opinions from everybody else. With a direct contact, and I'm sure the Americans, because I've talked to a lot of Americans down south, and their news doesn't even cover anything like that. Your news doesn't
C-SPAN.
cover.
Peter, do you know about what C-SPAN is here in the United States, and the app that you can put on your phone?
I didn't.
So, okay, so what we have here in the United States, it was established, I believe, back, oh man, before Carter, I'm not sure. I do not watch traditional media. for that exact reason. So I watch some, like, again, I'm bed bound, so I have the luxury of being able to do that. There's 3 different C-SPAN channels, 1, 2, and 3. All it is a camera set up in our room. It records our congressional hearings. It records everything that's done on the floor. It records our voting. It records everything. It's just a camera. There are no broadcasters. There's no person, no personality telling you what to think or filter any information. You can download the app, put it on your phone. If you're interested in any one specific topic, you can just literally type it in the search. If you're interested in a specific individual that's in the current house or whatever, you can type it in, search it, and it even has little stars because some of them are very long, and if you don't have time, you can click on the star. It will go to a key, portion of that video or of that meeting, and so you'll be able to get a lot of American information that way because it is literally from our actual government and it's nothing but a camera, and it's called C-SPAN, SPAN. So
I
that would
have
be
that.
one that I
Okay.
would highly recommend to anybody outside of the United States because you can put it on your phone. I mean, I can't view everything you have in Canada. I can watch certain parliamentary things, but there's not much I can get from up there. I have to be told by it secondhand from my Canadian friends and followers. So yeah, but for you, that is the thing you can use. And it is the most reliable
Well,
thing here in the States that we have.
I appreciate that. And just to finish up, what my point is I appreciate that, Brandy. Um, with this format, and you can talk to people directly, how it affects them and what's going on, and you will get probably a very true a feeling of what's really going on. So that's just another benefit of having an online, democratic society online. There's just so much potential. You can't fit it all in one program.
I'm gonna cut in and then I'm gonna come to you, Dr. Jesnol. So I'm gonna what Brandy just shared and what Peter talked about. Let me just give you an example. Let's say there was legislation that had to do with disabled, okay? And it's on C-SPAN. Brandy would have the ability to either go in and cut that clip out or cut out the short version of that clip, come into the portal, post it. She could then put a commentary. Her commentary could say, look, as a disabled person, here's what I see as problems with this new legislation, or this is how I view it. Immediately, if there's a very large group of people who are united online, they can go in and they can start commenting. They can support Brandy. They can get the amount of support that's needed to bring it up. And then a large group of people can make this their mission. Now, they can choose to put together an email campaign or an outreach campaign, or they can make a viral video about it. Whatever it is, they get to decide what to do because they get to do this democratically simply by operating in this portal. And that is what Taiwan has been doing for 11 years. That is why Taiwan went from a 9% approval rating for their government to a 70%.
What?
What's that?
That today. Yeah, I lost it when you said Canada. We said one day. Everybody got excited.
Hey, sorry, Dr. Jesnol, can you mute? I was just going to bring you in.
Yeah, I got you.
Can you go ahead?
Yep.
Tell us what you think.
All right. I'm here for anything anybody needs. If you need information, if you need help getting email addresses, if you need to find information, court cases, I have about 20,000 of the Epstein files. I fix stuff. If you have problem with your internet or one of your programs, if you're doing software work, I do coding work. I can help. I fix anything except a broken heart. If you need me, let me know.
Dr. Jesnol, can I get you to collaborate with Peter and get you to help him with some of the things that he will be working on as he's putting his campaign outreach to Canadians. So, for instance,
Absolutely, Peter.
uh,
Just let me know what you need or show me what you got, and we'll help you figure out what might be missing.
Very good. Thank you.
I wanted to mention the QR code that I just scanned did not work. It says the QR code campaign has been disabled for some reason. Your QR code reader scanner is working fine. Just wanted to give you a heads up and let you know.
that's for Dr. Jesno. Is that correct, Brandy?
Yes, the QR code that he had up. Yes.
Oh, yeah, that part of it's missing. That's why it doesn't work.
Oh, okay, I gotcha.
That takes you to my Substack.
Okay, understood.
All right.
I'm following.
All right, guys. So, Karma, give a last plug for the show tomorrow if you could, and um let's I'm gonna anyone who's here who wants to meet with our group, Brandy, if you have a few minutes to hang on when we stop this live feed, um I would love to talk to you briefly when we're away, so everybody's not having to listen to that. If you're cool with that, are you available for a couple minutes?
Sure, no problem.
Okay. Go ahead, Karma.
All right, so tomorrow I will be live with IOD Nations, and AC will be joining me as well. It will be held kind of like this is right here. Anyone can really join into the Zoom. So Brandy, you're more than welcome to come if you'd like to join as well. We mostly we mostly go over what impacts women specifically, but like I mentioned earlier, none of us are free until we're all free. So that will start at 11 a.m. Pacific time, 2 p.m. Eastern. And links and all that good stuff will be going up later today and early in the day tomorrow. I'm sure we will be talking about our union email campaign at some point because AC is super on that right now. So with that, we are just working on an email campaign targeting unions all over the world to hopefully persuade them to move their money out of big banks and cripple the oligarchy that is within the big banks, within the Epstein class, all of these banks that are complicit and engaging with the Epstein class, all of that stuff. So yeah, join us tomorrow.
Okay.
Thanks, Joel.
No worries. Thank you for everything, Karma. Thanks for everyone who was here. I'm going to be putting something into the portal. I believe that one social media platform should be targeted to stand up to prevent nuclear war. I honestly don't get. I believe that we can pressure them to do that. I don't believe that our president should be able to have access to those codes when he's threatening other nations, and we have a constitution and a Congress that is supposed to be involved in making this happen. And honestly, I just consider it unacceptable that any entity with power and influence in the United States uh, is not working together to make that happen. So everybody who's here, if any of you have volunteered, we're going to put the email addresses in here one last time, our website and our email address where you can step in and volunteer. I know that Peter would like help with his campaign. I can only imagine that the ladies would like to have a lot more people participate and send out those emails, because the more that are sent, the more likely they are to have impact. And we're going to move that forward. And I'm going to, oh, if anyone here would be willing, I've got a book and a manifesto that I would like to have turned into audio and abridged versions. If anyone would like to volunteer to come in and help us with that, please let us know that, because it again, I'm going to finish this call. I'm going to have another meeting, and then I'm going to run off for work, and I'm not going to be back until later this evening. So all of these activities we're trying to put together, we could use assistance with. Thank you, Dr. Jesnal. That would be amazing to have you work on that. I didn't even think of reaching out to you. Wow. Wow. So thanks everybody who was here. Let's close it out with a message from Draco, who is our agent of peace. We call him AOP, and he's going to share a video that he made. You just can't believe the spirit of this man and all that he is doing behind the scenes to try and promote the unity of the free and democratic citizens of the world. So we will close this out. If anyone who is in this chat wants to hang around when it's not being fed live, we will be talking briefly, and then we're all going to go and try and do our best for freedom and democracy. So Draco, do you have that ready to share? I'll let you, here it comes, guys.
Hello, good people. Myself, Draco, and I'm an agent of peace. If you ever feel like the world is heading toward chaos and hope is
Can
fading,
somebody mute in the background,
I
please?
want to offer you a spark of light. IOD Nations, an online democracy for all of us who seek freedom, democracy, and peace. It's a place where we can come together, unite, and make things better. So stay united, stay strong. It would mean a lot to me if you stand with us to make a peaceful world.
Thanks, everybody. I'll see those of you who are in the background. We really appreciate your being here, and we are going to get things more concise as we move forward. So we appreciate you. Thanks, Bob. We're trying to be groovy and impactful.
Bye, guys.